Wow. That was not the ending that I was expecting. That was awesome though. I loved that last track was damn.
This is Off Track Podcast,
where each episode, one brother presents a project to be reviewed by the other.
Welcome to season 1, episode 5 of Off Track Podcast. Each episode, one of us brothers will bring a project that we love for the other to hear for the first time and react to. We're both hip hop heads, but we'll bring projects from all different genres, and we'll include well-known projects, more obscure projects, and everything in between.
Today, I'm going to bring Parker the album Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers, which is hanging right behind me. And so something completely out of the world of hip hop, but fairly well known. But first, let's go into a little life update. How's everything been going, Parker?
Yeah, it's been good. Been a super busy week. My girlfriend came to visit. I'm in a long distance relationship, and so my girlfriend came to visit this week before she starts her new job. Honestly, we didn't get to do too much because I was also sick the entire week that she was here. And I had to go to class some days. So, but we did go like snowboarding up at Sundance, and that was super fun. It was her first time ever snowboarding, and she wants to try it again. She actually learned pretty quickly. She picked it up nice. So as far as music, I didn't listen to like a ton of music while she was here, but I did listen to a lot of like Kevin Ross and Victor Ray. They're both R&B pop artists. And also the Lil Sims new EP that just dropped this week, and also Vultures, the Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign collab album. There were definitely a couple good songs, but overall as a project I don't know. I was hoping for a little bit more, but what about you?
Life-wise, we went on a trip to Boston last weekend.
Yeah, how was that?
It was good. We were kind of scoping out like potential apartments and stuff. But yeah, and then we came home and Haley, my wife, she's my wife, Parker, but Haley spilled boiling water on her foot after cooking pasta and got some pretty gnarly burns. So she's recovering from that, and it's recovering pretty well actually. But
that looked pretty nasty from the pictures.
Yeah, it was gnarly. Music wise, I was listening to a lot of Theophilus London. I don't know if you have heard of him.
I haven't, no.
He's like, I don't even really know like how to describe his music, but it's very dancey.
Cool.
So that was a good preparation for the Little Sims EP because I also listened to that a lot.
Yeah.
Very like super interesting how so many different artists are like kind of going into the world of dance music. And this Little Sims EP is like totally different from anything she ever
I know
did.
it was not what I was expecting. It was really fun though.
Yeah, I really liked it. My buddy from work recommended an album called Who Will Cut Our Hair When We're Gone by the Unicorns. And honestly, that I loved it. It's like what I've been having it on repeat
Nice.
the past week or so. Maybe I'll have to bring that to the podcast sometime. Okay, well, let's get into Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you like familiar with Phoebe Bridgers or?
Not really. I know I've listened to some of her music, and it's like mostly pop music, right?
It's like indie,
a little bit like
indie folk, indie
folk.
pop.
Okay, yeah.
So yes, she dropped her debut album in 2017. That album was called Stranger in the Alps. And then Punisher, the album we're going to talk about today, is her sophomore album that she dropped in 2020.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, she's kind of like somewhere in the realm of like indie folk pop. She's from Pasadena, California, which will be like her hometown and everything. Living near LA is something that comes out a lot in her music. References to like, her life and her community. So, and then she's also a member. I don't know if you heard this album from last year. She's a member of Boy Genius. Which is like it's like an indie group. Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, and Lucy Dacus. Okay. So the three of them have this like separate group called Boy Genius, and they just won a Grammy for like indie album of the year or something.
Oh, nice.
Just at last week's Grammy. She actually also won another Grammy. She featured on SZA's album SOS, and they won I think, for like best female pop duo or something.
Nice.
In terms of this album, Punisher, it was released in June 2020, but the rollout had started like in February. So she mostly
Okay.
recorded the album like pre-COVID, but it came out like right in the thick of COVID. And this album was nominated at the 2021 Grammys. Phoebe Bridgers was nominated for Best New Artist. The album was nominated for Best Alternative Music Album. And then
Nice.
one of the songs on here was nominated for a couple of different awards as well at the Grammys.
Okay. I've got it pulled up here. Track 1 is titled DVD Menu. All right. That was track 1. Pretty like gloomy sounding so far. I'm assuming setting up for probably the tone of the rest of the album here. So cool, like little like the strings in the background. Kind of I just barely watched Get Out, and it kind of sounds like something that would play in Get Out.
Yeah, kind of like horror movie-esque.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say about this is remember that melody, the like violins or whatever it is in the background. It goes like do 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 do.
Yeah.
It's just a little simple like 4-note descending thing. So just hold on to that. But
Okay. The second track is Garden Song.
Someday I'm gonna live in your house up on the hill. When your skinhead neighbor goes missing, I'll plant a garden in the yard. Then they're gluing roses. I grew up here till it all went up in flames, except the notches in the door frame. I don't know when you got taller. See our reflection in the water.
Is that like Bonnie Bear?
it sounds like him, doesn't it?
That's what it
It
sounds
sounds
like.
like Justin Vernon. It's her tour manager.
Okay.
That's exactly what I thought the first time I heard it, though.
It sounds like him on that background vocal. I like the like choppy production of the guitars. That's cool.
It must be something in the water. I get everything I want.
All right. Nice. That was a
What'd you
cool
think?
song. Right off the bat, she has a really good voice. There's that line. She was like, I grew up here till it all went up in flames, except the notches on the door frame.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the lyrics I'm not totally sure I understand everything she's going for. I don't know, when you got taller, somehow I got taller.
Mm-hmm.
Must be something in the water. Everything's grown in our garden.
Yeah, like the passage of time and like growing up. And in that same vein, I think that line that you called out about like until everything went up in flames except the notches in the door frame.
Yeah.
Kind of like adding a visual of like adding notches as you grow
Yeah.
up
exactly.
or whatever. And I love that how the transition, that's the last line of the verse. And then the next line of the chorus is, I don't know when you got taller.
Yeah.
So kind of like tying in that the notches on the door frame reference and then this theme of like growing up and time passing.
I liked it. It was a pretty song. Not just the background vocal during that like kind of chorus section, but the whole song just kind of felt like a Bonnie Bear, like that kind of folk style music.
Cool. Yeah. Two things I'll just call out about it. One is the first verse has a couple of references to Elliott Smith. He was like a singer-songwriter in like the last part of the 90s and into the early 2000s, but he like tragically died really young in like 2004. But Phoebe Bridgers always talks about him as like a big influence. And so there's a couple of references in that first verse when she says like, one day I'm going to live with you in your house up on the hill. that could be a reference to a song by Elliott Smith called From a Basement on a Hill. And then later in that same verse, she talks about they're gluing roses on a flatbed.
Yeah.
And that refers to the Rose Parade, which happens in Pasadena where Phoebe grew up, but also there's a song by Elliott Smith called Rose Parade, which is about the Rose Parade in Portland where Elliott Smith was from.
Gotcha.
So there's gonna be a recurring, like, throughout the album there are references to Elliott Smith, and so good to know that he's like a huge influence on her. The other thing I was gonna say was in that first verse where she says, "Someday I'm gonna live with you in your house up on the hill," and then she talks about your skinhead neighbor. What does she say? She's like,
your skinhead neighbor goes missing or something.
yeah, when your skinhead neighbor goes missing, I'll plant a garden in a yard, kind of like implying like she's gonna murder the skinhead neighbor and bury him in the garden. And then later she says, everything's growing in our garden, you don't have to know that it's haunted. So kind of like calling back to the fact that she may have murdered the skinhead neighbor and buried him in the garden.
Yeah. Things are growing though.
Yeah.
I'll give it like a 7.5 out of 10. The third track is titled Kyoto.
Day off in Kyoto, got bored at the temple, looked around at the 7-Eleven. They still got payphones, it cost $1 a minute to tell me you're getting sober, and you wrote me a letter. Dreaming through Tokyo skies.
I like the instrumentals on this song.
Yeah.
That's a sweet drum in the back. Cool guitar line.
Said you called on his birthday, we're off by like 10 days, but you get a few points for trying.
I love there are these moments where her melodies goes down in the background. There's like things going up in opposite directions. Like right there.
Nice. Yeah, again, like the notion of like growing up. I think there were like 2 or 3 different times in this song where she said something along the line, like different variations of this last one was, I wanted to see the world through your eyes until it happened. The older you get and the more you see, sounds like she's seen some shit. I'm not sure who she's talking about at the beginning here. She's like, you wrote me a letter, I don't have time to read it, I'm gonna kill you if you don't beat me to it.
Yeah.
And then later it kind of sounds like she's maybe talking to a family member.
Yeah. So she's talked about this, and that a lot of this song has to do with her relationship with her dad.
Okay. That makes sense.
He had he struggled with addiction issues throughout when she was growing up. And so there's that line when she talks about, like, you called me to tell me that you were getting sober. She has an interview quote where she said, I feel so much fucking empathy and so much fucking anger toward him. It'll always be day to day. Are we talking? Are we not talking? What's the vibe? So some of those things, like, I wanted to see the world through your eyes until I did, or something like that. Or like, yeah, I wanted to see the world, then I flew over the ocean and changed my mind. I feel like it kind of hints at like she wanted to, like, she thought what she wanted was to go out and explore the world, and that's what she needed. But then when she left, I feel like there's maybe this duality of like, she realized that actually what she needed wasn't to actually see the world, but just to get away from home.
Yeah. And
then maybe there's also another part that when she's away from home, she like partially like wants to go back.
Yeah.
I love like all the contrasts in this, talking about like, I wanted to see the world and then I changed my mind, or like the very first line, like, got bored at the temple. She's in Japan, like going to see like the things that everyone goes to see, but then you're just like, damn, this is boring.
Yeah.
Or like one of the very last lines, I don't forgive you, but please don't hold me to it. I love just like, there's so many contrasts, and that's why I think it just sounds beautiful. The diverging lines that I pointed out, where she's like,
she's kind of tailing off,
And
and
then
then the
sometimes the
instrumentals are
instrumental like
picking up.
goes, yeah. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's just represents the contrast that she's talking about in the song.
With my little brother, he said you called on his birthday, but you were like 10 days off.
Yeah.
But then but you get a few points for trying.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a really good song. I like that. I really like the instrumentals on that. The guitar line in the background right off the beginning is really cool.
Definitely more like upbeat, kind of like more indie rock inspired.
Yeah.
Than her traditional like folk sound.
I think I'll give that one like 8.5 out of 10. Really good storytelling too.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love most about her music is like she paints pictures and takes you through a story and like gives you these really vivid images of what she's talking about.
All right. Track number 4 is titled Punisher, the title track on the album.
When the speed kicks in, I go to the store for nothing. The drugstores are open all night. The only real reason I moved to the east side. I love a good place to hide in plain sight. What if I told you I feel like I know you, but we never met? But never not sweet to the trust ones and punishers. Man, I wish that I could say the same. I swear I'm not angry, that's just my face. What if
I love that piano line in the background.
Yeah.
That's super pretty.
like I can't open my mouth and forget how to talk. 'Cause even if I could, wouldn't know where to start, wouldn't know when to stop.
Damn. Pretty deep song. She's definitely in her feels. It honestly, it stylistically sounds a lot like a King's Elliot song off of Chaos in My Court. That sounds like something that could have been right off that album.
Yeah. I was gonna say, are we okay? We've brought sad girl albums the past.
Yeah, seriously. The like the airy like whisperiness in the vocals, like the soft strings and the soft piano lines in the background, and obviously the content of the song. But yeah, I thought it was really good, really pretty. There were a couple lines. Drugstores are open all night. The only real reason I moved to the east side. I love a good place to hide in plain sight. Like, damn.
The person she keeps coming back to and talking to, and in the chorus when she says, I feel like I know you, but we've never met, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's also Elliott Smith.
Oh, okay.
That I mentioned in the first track. So yeah, she's talked about how this song is like about the idea that if she ever were to meet Elliott Smith, that she would be this like cringy fan that just obsessed over him.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, there's like several references to Elliott Smith in the lyrics. So like that first part of the first verse when she talks about when the speed kicks in and we go to the store for nothing. It's almost like a direct reference to a scene in a song called St. Ides Heaven by Elliott Smith, where in that song there's someone that gets high on speed and walks around the neighborhood for no reason, just to go walk around. And then the Snow White references, like living in a cottage. Elliott Smith lived in what's called the Snow White cottages in LA. So that's another reference. So it's like the whole song is basically like a tribute to Elliott Smith.
Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. I'll probably give it probably like a 8 out of 10.
Nice. I really like the vocal production at the beginning. I don't know if you noticed, but it was like these like layered harmonies that kind of sounds like Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap. It's the song that was sampled in that song What You Say. What You
Oh yeah,
Say.
with like the layered vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I thought that was pretty interesting production.
Yeah. All right. The 5th track is titled Halloween.
I hate living by the hospital. The sirens go all night. I used to joke that if they woke you up, somebody better be dying.
Damn.
But I can count on you to tell me the truth when you've been drinking and you're wearing a mask. Oh, come on, man. We can be
Those horns in the background, like following that little chorus, are really cool.
Yeah. I love the effect of these like picked. I don't know what instrument it is. If it's just a guitar with some
Like a mute on it or something.
Yeah, I think it's so cool though.
Yeah.
Baby, it's Halloween, and we can be
Those drums are really cool too. I've been surprised by the production so far. I really like it. Is that the same guy? Her manager?
No, this is someone else. This is Connor Oberst.
Okay.
He's in the band Bright Eyes, but they also are in a band together called Better Oblivion Community Center.
Gotcha.
Phoebe Bridgers and Connor Oberst.
Cool. Yeah. Like I said, I really like how diverse the instrumentation has been so far on the album. I feel like a lot of the like newer indie artists, a lot of their songs sound like exactly the same every time. And it's like the same acoustic guitar behind, their singing but there's been a lot of variation.
Yeah,
which has been really cool.
Been hearing strings, horns, acoustic
Piano,
guitar,
a little bit like electric guitar. Yeah,
different types of drums.
It sounded like some like almost like timpani drums or something on this last song.
And there's not a ton of layers, like there's not a ton going on.
Yeah.
So it feels like everything has been selected very carefully.
Yeah. And when she adds things like during this, like the second chorus of this song, when those drums did come in, it's very noticeable. Like you can
hear the extra layer being added on.
Yeah. That was a really cool song. I'll probably give that probably also like an 8 out of 10. Really liked the instrumentation, very chill, like singing wise. The chorus where she's like, baby, it's Halloween, we can be anything. Is she still talking like to somebody? Is this talking to her dad again, or is she just kind of talking to herself?
I think this song is more of like about like a relationship.
Okay.
This like, you're sick of the questions I keep asking you that make you live in the past. It seems to paint a picture of like, you're like questioning someone's past and that's causing some kind of conflict. But I can count on you to tell me the truth when you've been drinking and you're wearing a mask. This theme of like wearing a mask and come on, it's Halloween. Like we can be anything. let's and that like the outro where it's like I'll be whatever you want. I don't know, it kind of gives the vibe of like someone trying to desperately save their relationship and knowing that like basically the only way to do that is to like be someone you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the
Yeah.
idea, she's like always surprised by what I do for love, some things I never expect. I guess coming from her perspective of like maybe her dad, like she probably did have to put on a face like just growing up just to like
Mhm.
survive in her world or whatever. And stuff like that will carry over into relationships or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
aspects of life. So
Yeah, she said it's about a dead relationship, but it doesn't get to have any victorious ending. It's like you're bored and sad and you don't want drama and you're waking up every day just wanting to have shit be normal, but it's not that great.
Mm.
So
similar to like visiting Japan, traveling the world, and being like, well, this isn't as great as maybe I had hoped it'd be.
yeah.
Cool. Track 6 is titled Chinese Satellite.
I've been running around in circles, pretending to be myself.
The idea of like having a mask on again.
Mm-hmm.
Drowning out the morning birds. Took a tour to see the stars, but they weren't out tonight. So I wished hard on a Chinese satellite. I want to believe. Instead I look at the sky and I feel nothing. You know I hate to be alone. I want to be wrong. You were screaming at the evangelicals. They were screaming right back from what I remember. I'd stand on the corner, embarrassed with a picket sign. If it meant I would see you when I die, I want to go home.
Cool. That one was honestly not my favorite one. I feel like there's something missing, but I like the
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi.
What?
I'm, I didn't realize I'm on the off track Spotify account, which has ads. Got it switched over.
That's crazy that this is like one of your least favorite ones so far, because this is one of my favorite
Is it?
songs on the album. Just like thematically, I think
Yeah.
it explores some really interesting things about her struggling with not being able to have faith in like a god, and that like she wishes she could believe because that seems like it would be more comforting.
Yeah,
I'm curious,
yeah,
like
yeah.
what did you feel like was missing from it?
I don't know. It almost felt like, because initially I was like, oh, I like the drums and guitars for how it started. I felt like the guitars were gonna go a little bit harder on the chorus, and the maybe a little bit more drums come in on the chorus, and that she was gonna like belt out a chorus
Mhm.
after those soft verses, and it like starts to build up a little bit, and then it stays like relatively soft. And honestly, maybe the music behind it is somewhat reflective of the lyrics that she's singing, because it feels like it needs to resolve more than it does. Maybe that is like a reflection of like the like kind of lack of resolution that she's describing in the song. But it was still good. I still enjoyed the song. I think my own expectations, I was just hoping it would go a little bit further.
Okay, I think that's fair.
But I agree with you, like lyrically and thematically, you know, like instead I look out at the sky and feel nothing. I hate to be alone, I want to be wrong.
Hmm.
Wishing on a Chinese satellite. You know, the idea of like there's nothing more that she can wish on right now.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that line, like following this, like took a tour to see the stars, but they weren't out tonight, which references like the bus tours in LA that like, oh, this is where like Angelina Jolie lives or whatever. And
Yeah.
so to me, like that is like the symbol of like you go out looking for something, but you don't find it. And then like the Chinese satellite, which usually you'd be like wishing on a star, wishing on a shooting star. So kind of connecting to that first line of like went out to see the stars.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like this contrast of like you think you're wishing on a star, but that common experience of like, oh wait, is that a star or is that a plane or like a satellite or something?
Mm-hmm.
The other part that I really love is this second verse where she's describing some situation where they were like in an argument with some evangelicals.
Yeah.
And it kind of paints this picture of like people standing out maybe at like an abortion clinic or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd stand on the corner embarrassed with a picket sign if it meant I would see you when I die.
Later in that verse, she's like, swore I could feel you through the walls, but that's impossible. She
Yeah.
literally says, I want to believe. Damn. Okay. I will say you've convinced me a little bit. I still wish that musically it was a little bit more. But I definitely agree. I think thematically, I think it definitely adds to the album. And yeah, it's deeper than I initially thought for first time through. So
Yeah.
I'll probably give it like 7.5, 8 out of 10. But I definitely think it's one that could grow on me the more I listen.
Yeah.
So
I will say like Phoebe Bridgers puts a lot of thought into like the poetry of the words before she even gets to like arranging it musically. It takes a few listens before you are fully understanding what she's talking about. And then even after that, it takes a few more listens to be able to get some of these little like turns of phrases that she uses to convey some really like complex emotions in like a really small line.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Cool. 7th track is Moon Song.
You asked to walk me home, but I had to carry you. Stuck your tongue down the throat of somebody who loves you more. So I will wait for the next time you want me, like a dog with a bird at your door. Now I am dreaming and you're singing at my birthday, where I would give you the moon. You are sick and you're married and you might be dying, but you're holding me like water in your hands. When you saw the dead little bird, you started crying, but you know the killer doesn't understand.
Wow. Dang. That's a crazy song. Just like right off the bat, the idea, she says, you asked to walk me home, but I had to carry you. Like,
Mhm.
you know, this person seemingly offering their help, but then it kind of flips on you and
Mhm.
becomes more of a burden more
Mhm.
than anything. You pushed me in, now my feet can't even touch the bottom of you. those last few lines are great. You're sick, you're married, you might be dying. You're holding me like water in your hands. When you saw the dead little bird, you started crying, but you know the killer doesn't understand.
Mhm.
I was like, damn, that's brutal.
Yeah, and I think the theme of like water as a representation of like bad relationships,
Mm-hmm.
almost like this imagery of like it's
It
just like slipping through.
slips through. Yeah.
And then it's like, I will wait for the next time you want me, like a dog with a bird at your door. That she talks about earlier in the song, just this relationship where like she desperately wants to like give this person whatever they want. And in the bridge, like if I could give you the moon, I would give you the moon.
Yeah.
But basically no matter what it is, it's not going to be what that person wants.
That's crazy.
So,
I think
yeah.
it's one of those songs that like isn't, I'm not gonna play it all the time, but like I'm gonna go ahead and rate it right now. I'll probably give it like a 9. I think it's a really beautiful song, really good song. It's like a tough listen though. It's pretty
Yeah.
sad. Not one that you can listen to all the time, but it's really well written. The storytelling is really good. And this one, I think I kind of see this one similar to how you saw Chinese Satellite. The way I viewed it initially was totally like a poem, because the like musically this song isn't very complex at all.
Mhm.
It really is just kind of like a poem with the music behind it.
Mhm.
And maybe that's how I should have gone into Chinese Satellite, but
Yeah.
I thought this song was super deep, really beautiful, really well written, and yeah, introduces like the concept of the water and the dog and the bird, that have been kind of brought up before in the album, are more explicitly stated
Mhm.
in this. But I thought it was really beautiful, so I'll give that a 9 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, to be honest, it's interesting that we had like kind of opposite reactions, because when I first was listening to this album, this was one of my least favorite songs.
Yeah.
And I think it was because just like musically, there's not a ton going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it took for me to like really listen to what she was saying before I realized like, damn, this is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the 8th track is titled Savior Complex.
Emotional affair, overly sincere, smoking in the car, windows up, crocodile tear. I drag you to the shore, sweating through the sheets. You're gonna drown in your sleep. All the bad dreams that you hide, show me yours, I'll show you mine.
That's a dope line. All the bad dreams you hide, show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Yeah.
Baby, you're a vampire. You want blood, and I promised I'm a brave liar with a savior complex.
I think these strings and like the oohs and everything are so beautiful.
Yeah.
That you hide, show me yours.
Yeah, I think that's just about as probably complex as the music has gotten so far.
Mhm.
That like back end of the song. But yeah, it was really cool. It had like, I don't know what it was right before it went into that like little instrumentation part where it's like, show me yours and I'll show you. And it sounds like she's about to go like resolve down into mine,
Mhm.
but then it kind of goes back up
Mm-hmm.
and that like I don't know what it is. It was like the very dark bass or something.
It sounded like maybe it was even like a cello or something.
Yeah, maybe went into this little dissonant.
Yeah, there were like the high strings in the background, and then it doesn't resolve musically. It like goes
Yeah.
back up and just leaves you kind of hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Which also her words leave you hanging. She says,
Yeah.
"Show me yours," and she never ends by saying "show," and I'll show you mine.
Yeah, that's right. There were a few more like of the water references, or just like at the beginning, like the crocodile tears. Run the top till it's dry, sweating through your sheets, drowning in your sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
It's a
feel
good
like
song.
this was one of the more straightforward songs. Like it's very clear what she's talking about, and the whole like
Mhm.
the savior complex thing. Show me yours,
Yeah.
I'll show you mine.
It was a good song, pretty straightforward. I'll probably give this one like a 7.5 out of 10.
Cool.
Okay. The ninth track is titled I See You. Is this supposed to be like I see you or the I see you?
We'll see, I guess.
Yes, we'll see.
I've been playing dead my whole life, and I get this feeling whenever I feel good. It'll be the last time, but I feel something when I see you now. If you're a work of art, I'm standing too close. I can see the brush strokes. I hate your mom. I hate it when she opens her mouth. It's amazing to me how much you can say when you don't know what you're talking about.
Gotta roast his mom like that.
Yeah, for real.
I feel something 'cause I don't know what I want until I fuck it up. Feel something. I'll climb through the window wide open. Let the dystopian morning light pour in.
Nice. This song is exactly what I expected Chinese satellites to sound more like.
Yeah.
That's what I was
that it
expecting.
kind of like swells more into this like more kind of grand like
Yeah.
chorus
Mhm.
or something.
Yep. But it makes sense in the context of what she's talking about, that she hasn't gotten there yet. This was a good song. I liked it.
So the answer to your question is it is I see you.
Yeah.
Like I feel something when I see you.
Yeah. Yeah. She said that a lot.
But it's also, I mean, the title is spelled like the acronym ICU.
Yeah. And she
Um,
starts off like, I've been playing dead my whole life.
mhm,
It's interesting. She's like, and I get this feeling whenever I feel good that it'll be the last time.
mhm.
And then the rest of the song, she talks about how she gets that feeling. It's good, but it's also kind of prefaced by like kind of that dark notion of like, well, I don't know if this is going to last or if
Mhm.
I'm going to feel this again.
Really similar, I feel like, to some of the ways she was talking about it on Halloween. You know, just this like relationship that you want to save.
Yeah.
You like feel something good in it, but then also like if you're a work of art, I'm standing too close because I can see the brush strokes.
Yeah. I love that imagery that she's using there.
Yeah.
I can see the brush strokes. And then she just goes in on this
Her
person's
mom,
mom.
Yeah.
I hate your mom. Although like that line, I hate when she opens her mouth. It's amazing to me how much you can say when you don't know what you're talking about. And like, I think that's a feeling that so many people can relate to. Like
Yeah.
talking to like people of a different generation.
Mom and dad, if you're listening, this is about you. And then like the later on in the song, like I used to light you up, now I can't even get you to play the drum. So it's kind of like you said, is there's
Yeah.
these like contrasts where she's talking about like I feel something when I see you, but then there's also this I see you portion of it where it like feels like it's also dying because I can't even get you to play the drums anymore. This is also
Yeah.
about, supposedly this is about her drummer that she used to be in a relationship with.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I really like that song. I thought it was good. I'll give that like a 8.5 out of 10. I thought
Nice.
that was definitely one of the better ones. Track number 10 is titled Graceland Too. Like Elvis.
Exactly like Elvis.
I'm not sure how many other Gracelands there are that are referenced.
Got some
half
banjo.
Half expecting like Rascal Flatts to come out on this.
Yeah.
No longer a danger to herself or others. She made up her mind and laced up her shoes. She walked outside without an excuse. So she picks a direction. It's 90 in Memphis. Turns up the music so thoughts don't intrude. Predictably winds up thinking of Elvis and wonders if he believed songs could come true. I'm asking for it if they do. I would do anything you want me to. I would do anything for you. Whatever she wants, whatever she wants, whatever you want.
Nice. She revisits a lot of ideas from previous songs. I noticed that especially in this song. Just revisiting like lines or ideas from previous songs. That the like whatever she wants. I don't know if that's exactly the words that she was using. I can't remember what song it was.
It was Halloween.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, almost exactly the same as the ending, the outro on Halloween, where she says like, I'll be whatever you want or something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
This one too, I love the like storytelling aspect of it, where you're like following someone who it seems like might be like coming out of rehab or something, where they take your shoelaces or whatever, and she made up her mind and laced up her shoes.
Yeah.
And then she has nothing, like she just decides to go somewhere or whatever.
Yeah. Turn up the music so thoughts don't intrude. She's like wondering if Elvis believed songs could come true. She said, I'm asking for it if they do.
Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah, kind of nice little pretty kind of like country ballad type thing.
Yeah, I like the guitars on that one. Yeah, I thought it was really pretty. I'll probably give it like an 8 out of 10. Yeah, thought it was good. Okay, the last track is I Know the End.
Somewhere in Germany, but I can't place it. Man, I hate this part of Texas. Close my eyes, fantasize. 3 clicks and I'm home. But you had to go. I know, I know, I know. Like a wave that crashed and melted on the shore. Not even the
There's the water again.
burnouts are out here anymore. Out in the park, we watched the sunset, talking on a rusty swing set. Always pushing you away from me, but you come back with gravity. And when I call, you come home. A bird in your teeth.
It's the bird again.
So I gotta go. Driving out into the sun with the looking for a creation myth. Ended up with a pair of cracked lips, a slaughterhouse, an outlet mall, slot machines, fear of God, a haunted house with a picket fence to float around and ghost my friends. No, I'm not afraid to disappear. The billboard said the end is near. I turned around, there was nothing there. Yeah, I guess the end is here.
Not what I was expecting. Damn.
Crazy.
Wow. That was not the ending that I was expecting. That was awesome though. I loved that last track was damn.
That was an immaculate way to close off the album.
It for real, it felt like the end of a movie.
Yeah.
It felt like the end song of like one of the Hunger Games movies where it's like it like feels a little dystopian, but it's like
Yeah.
but also triumphant. That was that I don't even know what to say. That was awesome. I loved it.
This song like takes so many of the things that have been talked about throughout the album, throws them all in one, like it kind of just like brings things full circle. The reference about the water symbol, it's
The bird
talking about like
again.
the first verse talking about like I'm somewhere in Germany, but I'm romanticizing a quiet life, like I'm ready to go home, kind of similar to Kyoto.
Mhm.
And then talking about like a relationship in the second verse, talking about like we're talking on a rusty swing set, you went quiet and I got mean, I'm always pushing you away from me, but you come back with gravity. And then this theme that she first introduced on Chinese Satellite of
Yeah.
like in that song she's like mourning death and the fact that she doesn't believe that there's anything after.
Mhm.
And here it's almost like she's triumphant and saying, you know what, like I'm not going to be afraid of it. I like she tells this whole story in the second half of the song of like you're driving out into the sun, like she's
Yeah.
like going out and like taking advantage of whatever she can before the end happens. And then,
Yeah.
and then the final like screaming, and it's just like you've let out all of these emotions throughout the album, you've like talked about all of these issues, and it's
Mhm.
almost just like you've let it all out and now you can like go and just like enjoy
I
before the end happens.
I loved that second verse and the rest of the from the second verse on to the end of the song.
Yeah.
I thought was so like perfectly done. Yeah, that like went looking for a creation myth, ended up with a pair of cracked lips. Damn, that like a slaughterhouse, an outlet mall, slot machines, fear of God, windows down, heater on.
Hmm.
Oh man, just that idea, like you see her looking for answers to things that she's talked about on the rest of the album. And even though like she doesn't get all of those answers, she kind of just it's either okay or I'm just gonna do my thing and you know not let that hold me back.
Yeah. I'm not
But I
afraid to
thought
disappear. I
yeah,
guess the end is here.
yeah, it was dope.
The
Damn.
line of like a haunted house with a picket fence to me reminds me of the first song,
Mhm.
garden
To
song where she
to float
talks
around with my ghost friends.
where she like murdered a skinhead and lives on the house up on the hill. So it's just like bringing together a lot of the like elements
Mhm.
and tying it all together, and then an acceptance of
Yeah.
the way things are, and that in itself is kind of a resolution.
Yeah. Just kind of the feeling of like it's enough, like, or she
Mhm.
has enough to appreciate life, experience life. Damn. Yeah, I'm gonna give that song probably like a 9.5 out of 10. I
Nice.
thought that was a really good song. It was like almost 6 minutes, but it didn't really feel like 6 minutes.
Mhm.
It didn't feel at all like it was being dragged on. It was
Yeah.
I really like the way that she ended this album.
And I will say, I told you to remember that melody from the very first intro track. And it's this, I don't know if you remember it, because I told you to
Oh
remember
shoot.
it.
I know. I was, as this song was starting, I remember that you told me that. And I was like, shit, I don't know if I can remember it.
So the line is like do 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 do, and that's in
Mhm.
the intro track, just like some violins, and then it
Yeah.
comes back here at the very last part of this song,
Okay.
like after the screams, that kind of comes back. I don't know, to me it just like adds to this whole feeling of like things have come full circle, and there is some sense of like resolution, even if it's
Mhm.
not all happy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. I love the album. I didn't super know what to expect going into it. Um, but I really appreciate the songwriting and the depth of the ideas that she explores on the album. I think she does really, really well. I'll definitely
Yeah.
need to check out her debut album.
Yeah, you should check it out. Both are really good. There's one song on Stranger in the Alps that I was just like so sad that we don't get to talk about.
Yeah, I think probably like my favorite songs were, I think, Kyoto, Punisher, Moon Song, and that last one, I Know the End. First listen through, I think those were the ones that really stuck out to me. Um, with either really, really great storytelling, exploring the themes that she introduces earlier in the album, to music wise, like the music on that last one was incredible. I thought
Mhm.
it was really cool. And yeah, overall, I'll probably give the album probably like a 8 out of 10. I think most of them were right around there, 7.5, 8, 8.5.
Mhm.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Cool. Yeah, so next week I will bring you an album that you'll get to review.
Cool.
I'm excited. I think you're really gonna like it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the review of Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers.
If you like the episode, follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter, formerly known as X, at the Off Track Podcast.